The Sahara Desert had been silently lying under the scorching light of the sun for thousands of years. The sand dunes, shaped by the winds, had slowly erased the face of time. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. The legends at the heart of Africa come alive here. But that face once smiled. That face once lived at the heart of a city. Its name was whispered. Zerzura. The city of legends, prophecies, and forgotten loves. Nadira was born in a small village in southern Morocco, sheltered in the shade of palm trees, a place where time seemed hardly to have touched. This village, where the brown of the earth mixed with the golden yellow of the sky, was a quiet place illuminated only by the moon's silver light at night. Nadira's dark skin sparkled like bronze under the desert sun. Her thick, full lips reflected every emotion, even when not speaking. She possessed an elegant grace. Her rounded form left an imprint on the ground, even as she walked lightly on the sand. Her thick, jet-black hair flowed down her shoulders. Sometimes it danced in the wind, while at other times it rested in the long braids her mother had patiently woven. The golden amulet she wore around her neck was her only inheritance from her family. A secret lay hidden within it, but the voice of that secret had yet to be heard. In the village, Nadira was respected not only for her beauty, but also for her intuition. Sometimes she would describe the scent in the air before it rained, and sometimes, when someone was to receive bad news, her eyes would become misty. The elderly women said she was the descendant of the ancestors. This nickname was not in vain. Since her childhood, Nadira had begun to have strange and vivid dreams at night. In her dreams, she wandered through a city filled with stone walls, columns, and fountains. Women sitting around the wells would hum ancient songs to her. Sometimes, she would touch the bird shapes carved into the walls, and at other times, she would lift her gaze and respond to the smiles of blue-eyed foreign men. She would wake at dawn, sit in her courtyard in silence, and begin drawing her dreams on clay tablets. No one could decipher the meaning of these drawings, but as Nadira drew, she felt something awakening within her. A part of her whispered that she came from that city, that she belonged there, that she needed to complete a story that had been left unfinished. Even though she could not understand it yet, Nadira's heart knew that these dreams were not merely tied to sleep. They were echoes of memories from another life, a past that did not belong to her, but touched her soul. And those echoes called to her with growing strength each passing day. As a child, she had begun to have strange and vivid dreams. At night, in her dreams, a city would appear behind walls woven with white stones. Women wore silver rings, murmured ancient songs at the edge of the wells, looking at Nadira and speaking to her. The sky was always covered with a twilight tinged with purple. The walls of the city were engraved with bird symbols. Each seemed to narrate a different direction, a different memory. Every morning, Nadira would try to draw the symbols she had seen in her dreams, and then she would be filled with an inexplicable longing, her eyes staring far into the distance. As she grew older, the dreams became even more realistic. Her mother would say to her, "You have the power of ancient queens in your blood." But Nadira never understood what that meant, until one day she heard the name Zerzura from the lips of an old historian who came to their village. The historian was telling the legend of Zerzura by a great fire. The white city, the place where bird seals are on the doors. Inside lies a sleeping king and queen, and the black guards who protect them. Nadira shivered. She had never heard this story before, but she knew every detail. The dreams she had at night matched the stories being told perfectly. That night, she couldn't sleep. She began to think about her own past, her ancestors. By morning, she hugged her mother and looked into her eyes. "Mother, I must find this city." Her mother gave her an old silver ring, engraved with a bird symbol. "This ring belonged to my grandmother. She believed she was born in Zerzura. Perhaps it will be your path." Nadira learned that a group of explorers would be going to the desert at the Libyan border. She joined them. They set off with trucks, camel caravans, GPS devices, and ancient maps in hand. However, Nadira's guide was her dreams. One day, while she was walking alone in the desert, she got lost in a sandstorm. When she opened her eyes after fainting, she found herself surrounded by tall, blonde people with blue eyes. Strangers but familiar. She was led through the gates built of white stones. She walked past walls adorned with bird symbols. This was the city of her dreams, Zerzura. Zerzura felt like a living city, yet one whose time had stopped. The people, dressed as if from ancient times, and spoke a different Arabic dialect. Women walked without veils, singing songs to the stars at night. In the city, one thing was forbidden: to talk about the past. In the city's library, Nadira found dusty scrolls, hidden among ancient shelves covered in the cobwebs of time. These writings whispered a history that had been overlooked, bearing traces of a forgotten love. Inside a chest sealed with sacred seals, a gilded manuscript caught her attention. She reached out tremblingly and began to turn the pages, her heart racing. The manuscript spoke of Queen Zerzura and her forbidden love for a young man from the people. Zerzura had fallen in love with the honesty and pure light in the soul of that young man, in stark contrast to the loneliness hidden behind her golden crown. However, when the king learned that his queen's heart belonged to another, he became furious and had the young man tortured and killed in prison. After this betrayal, Zerzura, filled with tears, walked to the oldest well of the palace one sorrowful night, donned a white shroud, and recited prayers, relinquishing herself to eternity. The manuscripts also conveyed Zerzura's last words. "This heart will not be extinguished even by death. My soul will find him again one day, no matter where in time it may be." From that day on, when night fell in the city, flickering lights began to appear on some walls. Even the giant black guardians protecting the city would not speak at those moments, looking away. Because according to belief, the souls of Zerzura and her beloved still wandered the city. It was said that until they found new bodies and reunited, the city could not remain in balance. In the new bodies, familiar eyes continued to carry the echoes of unfinished stories. While Nadira was researching among the dusty shelves of the city library, she encountered him. Mikal was a tall, dark-skinned young man with curly hair and hazel eyes. He wore a simple yet elegant white tunic, his hands stained with ink. The moment Nadira locked eyes with him, she felt her heart stop for an instant. Mikal was examining ancient manuscripts, taking notes. When he noticed Nadira's presence, a familiar spark appeared in his eyes. "It is rare to see a foreign face in this city," Mikal said with a smile. Nadira approached shyly. "I am researching too. My dreams brought me here." Mikal looked carefully into Nadira's eyes. "Sometimes, fate reunites two souls. Perhaps we met before, in another life." At that moment, an inexplicable attraction was born between them. Nadira saw the young man from her dreams in his eyes. For Mikal, too, Nadira was not a stranger. As if they had been waiting for each other for years, two destinies crossed paths again in the ancient silence of the library. One night, the most cherished night of the year, the Silence Festival was held in Zerzura. The moon shone like a sword in the sky, draping the city in silver light. Nadira sat beside Mikal by the sacred well. Words fell silent, and hearts began to speak. Suddenly, she felt dizzy. The moonlight dazzled her eyes, and the veil of time opened in her mind. Images of the past began to flood before her eyes like a torrent. A woman wearing a crown, a marble palace, gold-embroidered walls and steps echoing in mourning. It was Zerzura, elegant and noble, yet her heart was chained. and before her stood a man, hands bound, head held high, eyes fearless. Mikal. A man who had stolen Zerzura's heart, but was not of noble birth. Even the silent walls of the palace spoke of this, love. The king, meanwhile, roamed like a ghost in the shadows, jealously guarding the fire in his wife's heart. He was cruel. There was no room in his heart for either love or forgiveness. When Zerzura's love for the young man became known to him, he silently issued an order before summoning the young man. His blood shall fall into the well. Let it blend with eternity. The young man was left to starve in the palace dungeon for days. With each blow, Zerzura's name fell from his lips, and each pain intensified his love for her. Zerzura tried to visit him secretly in tears, but the king's guards were determined to stain that love with blood. Finally, one night, a letter secretly sent to Zerzura contained only one sentence. He is no longer. In that moment, the light inside Zerzura extinguished. She donned a white shroud, adorned her wrists with silver bracelets, and walked to the oldest well of the palace. There she whispered her final prayer. My heart belongs to him. His soul was with me. Even if he is dead, time will carry our love. The day he finds me, eternity will be ours. And then she let herself drift into eternity. Nadira stood at the well, remembering the past, her eyes filled with tears. She looked at Mikal, sitting next to her. His eyes were also misty. These two souls had reunited beyond time. This love was not only an echo of the past, but also of the future. Both were shaken by this truth. The chain of the curse was about to be broken. But the guardians of the city, those stout black men, noticed this. They tried to remove Nadira from the city. Your presence will disrupt the entire balance, they said, but the past now belongs to you. Mikal held Nadira's hand. Don't leave me again. We lost each other hundreds of years ago. Nadira was taken out of Zerzura, bearing the heavy load of the curse amid the restless whispers of the people. The balance in the city had been disrupted, and some elders believed that her stay was opening the doors of the past too wide, fearing the sacred harmony might be broken. Her farewell to Mikal was short and painful. Their hearts had united, but fate had not permitted it. Nadira could only say, "Wait for me." When she returned to her village, her family was first surprised, and then accepted her in deep silence. The change in Nadira's eyes carried the weight of everything she had experienced. She was no longer the old village girl. Instead, a woman who knew secrets thousands of years old stood there. She returned to the university shortly and continued her education from where she had left off, with a determination that never faded from her eyes. However, now lessons were not just academic knowledge for her. They had become the compass of her spiritual quest. In every excavation, she spoke with the earth, listened to the voices of stones, and felt the souls behind ancient traces. In the academic community, she had become a remarkable archaeologist despite her young age. Nadira's thesis topic was even about Zerzura. Her professors admired her passion, but at times they would fall silent in the face of the intensity of her narratives. She was no longer just telling about Zerzura. She was living it, feeling it, and carrying its soul. With her narrative blending legends with science, Nadira had become the modern griot of her time. Time passed. 2 years went by. Nadira waited patiently. The words of Mikal echoed in her heart. One morning, while examining dusty scrolls in the silent archive room of the university, a visitor arrived for Nadira. At first, she did not recognize the man entering through the door. But his eyes, those eyes were worth a lifetime. Mikal stood before her, tired but determined. I followed every trace to find you for 2 years, he said. No city, no curse, no time can separate us anymore. Nadira's eyes filled with tears. She reached out her hand. I have always waited for you, because I knew Our love would live not only in the past, but also in the future. And at that moment, the wound of the past healed. The love that had been unfinished in Zerzura was finally completed in the time of the world. Nadira and Mikal reunited not for eternity, but to live each moment together as if it were infinite. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. The legends at the heart of Africa come alive here.